In this video, I would like to introduce you to a book that seems to be quite famous among ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. It is very exciting to read and very captivating. You can really feel with the protagonists. And is among the topmost places on many lists of good books or must-have read books. And it has inspired many people and is also used in other arts. There have been movies made about the book, and it is used in music. After reading the book, I memorized some lines of Rage Against the Machine songs that referred back to this story. I'm talking about George Orwell's 1984. The protagonist is called Winston Smith. He's living in a totalitarian superstate called Oceania. He specifically lives in Airstrip 1, which is formerly known as Great Britain. This state is reigned by the inner party with the leading figure of the Big Brother. Though they are the ones in control. They are setting the directions, they're giving the guidelines, they take the decisions. Their commands are executed by the outer party, which at the end of the day are the workhorses for the inner party. They are executing what the inner party commands. There are four ministries of this political system. There's the Ministry of Peace, that is dealing with a perpetual war with the other two superstates that remain on planet Earth. There's the Ministry of Plenty, that rations and controls supplies in the failing centrally planned economy of the state. And they keep reporting of oversupply, but in reality, there's a lack of simple things like razor blades and boots all the time. Furthermore, there's the Ministry of Truth, which is responsible for the news, the entertainment, the education, and arts. It is set up to control the information that is available to the population. It revisions history, it rewrites articles and destroys any counter-evidence or what contradicts the official rewritten history. And this is where the protagonist, Winston, works. The last ministry is the Ministry of Love. And this is where the thought control is done. They control the telescreens that continuously bombard people with propaganda. And they also listen to everything they say. They operate the thought police that penalizes anything said, thought, and done against the regime. They foster the denouncing by family and friends. Should they ever find a relative committing any thought crime, this will result in the offender undergoing a thought reform involving torture and eventually the death sentence. All this is set up just to keep the power in place, to secure status quo. This, in fact, is the very reason for the perpetual war with the other superpowers. One can draw many parallels with today's reality. What I liked most about the book is that it makes you aware, makes you pay heed. It is said to be largely inspired by the communist Soviet regime, but you will find many parallels that can be drawn, of course, while considering that many things are exaggerated in the novel. It makes you grateful again for what you have. In most countries of the world, there is freedom of thought, along many other personal liberties, and that is very important. I spent quite some time thinking about it, and what struck me most is the many parallels that can be drawn with the totalitarian regime I personally escaped from. There was no inner party, but a likewise secretive leadership elite, aloof, untouchable, and beyond reproach. They dictate the lives of their voluntary subordinates to an unimaginable degree. Still, I'm not sure to what degree I was swayed. In their control, they have an apparatus of people and organizational directives that resemble some of the ministries in Orwell's novel. The people responsible for all the propaganda, for all the literature produced, for whitewashing history, maybe do not have memory holes at their desks, but still they use many methods to keep their flock in control. And newspeak is developed, and they do not hide it at all. They call it the pure language, and even remember their subordinates not to overly make use of it while indoctrinating others, for example through public talks or while door knocking. They found that the internet, once demonized, can be the maybe closest thing to the telescreens of Orwell they can get hold of. They produce an unimaginable amount of propaganda in print, audio and video to keep their flock indoctrinated. It does not only sound like the Ministry of Truth, they call their very organization the Truth. And they have people to organize all this. They keep telling their subordinates of all the abundance their God provides. They construct, restructure, organize and what have you. But in reality, members of the inner party once even were forced to say that there is more money going out every month than is coming in. So also in this regime, the symbolic razor blades are short, just like the Ministry of Plenty. But there's always the risk of people breaking free that can actually see through all the deception. Therefore, they have their own judicial system. Of course, it does not only care with people breaking free, but also ensures a uniformity of behavior within the group. And it is family and friends that take the role of the thought police. Everybody is encouraged to warn a person if he or she has done something wrong, and they give them time to denounce themselves. If not, one is encouraged to denounce the wrongdoer. But of course, thought crime is the worst offense imaginable. Independent thinking is of Satan, is what they say. They want to make you believe that the bars and barriers they establish in your brain are to protect you from the enemy, the roaring lion that is out there to catch you. Fear is effective. Fear of the enemy, of renegades, people they call apostates. They will be sentenced to an imaginary death. Friends and family are being pressurized into ostracizing them, shunning them, treating them as dead. You can come back, but only if you prove to have reignited your love to the regime, to the doctrine, to the leadership. In the novel, there is a core concept, and that is doublethink. Let me explain this by a quote from the book. The keyword here is black-white. Like so many newspeak words, this word has two mutually contradictory meanings. Applied to an opponent, it means the habit of impudently claiming that black is white, in contradiction of the plain facts. Applied to a party member, it means a loyal willingness to say that black is white when the party discipline demands this. But it also means the ability to believe that black is white, and more, to know that black is white, and to forget that one has ever believed the contrary. This demands a continuous alteration of the past, made possible by the system of thoughts, which really embraces all the rest, and which is known in newspeak as doublethink. Doublethink is basically the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting both of them. Welcome to cognitive dissonance, is what I say. In my personal example, you need to completely trust the leaders, as God and His Son do, while seeing their mistakes. You have to accept the alterations of the past. You have to put on the new personality which at the end of the day is like the system of thoughts in doublethink. All this to keep the status quo. I once had a meeting with an elder and their circuit overseer, where I pointed out things that went wrong. But all I heard was that it is either my mistake or that my attitude must change. And after a couple of points, I literally said to them, all you say has the sole purpose of maintaining the status quo. That's what it's all about. But there are people who cannot deal with it, who do not fit into the scheme. In the novel, there's the character called Syme. He's too intelligent, too clearly, he speaks too plainly to survive in Oceania, even though he is part of the team developing Newspeak. Still, he disappears one day, even from the list of the chess club. I often ask myself how such a big system of lies and deception can work out, but it evidently works. Maybe it works like in the book. Let me read you another quote. In a way, the worldview of the party imposed itself most successfully on people incapable of understanding it. They could be made to accept the most flagrant violations of reality because they never fully grasped the enormity of what was demanded of them and were not sufficiently interested in public events to notice what was happening. By lack of understanding, they remained sane. They simply swallowed everything, and what they swallowed did them no harm because it left no residue behind, just as a grain of corn will pass undigested through the body of a bird. But keep your heads up. Let me end this with a quote from the band I mentioned in the beginning, Rage Against the Machine, from a song called Voice of the Voiceless. You'll never silence the voice of the voiceless, and Orwell's hell, a terror era coming through, but this little brother is watching you too. Let us be the little brothers watching the tower. Let us be the trombones of Jericho. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment and share it. And if you want more of them, please subscribe to my channel. Till next time.